Okay, guys, happy Monday. Thanks for being on the team Zoom. I know it's the day before a holiday, but it's at Monday with the Tuesday holiday, so it's really weird. And there's a lot of people out of town. So I'm super appreciative of all of you on here. If you're catching this on the replay, I'm also super appreciative of you doing that. Today I want to talk to you guys about just one of those things again where I heard a podcast, really started thinking about it, started doing some more reading about it, heard it on another podcast. And I was like, okay, I get it. I totally get it. So I want to ask you if you are using your authenticity, which we say all the time, be authentic, right? But are you using your authenticity to avoid stepping into your success role? And I can guarantee you that all of you are, because I know I was, and it's very easy to do. It's like one of those default mechanisms of being a human. But I want to talk about how you can stop doing it so that you can fully get to where you want to go. And I was really excited when I started learning about this because I want to get to where I really want to go. But I keep getting in my own damn way, just being me, being authentic me, right? Now, please keep in mind the whole time I'm talking about this. Charlotte says I feel attacked. I haven't even started, Charlotte. It's going to get way better if you already feel attacked. Um, Keep in mind while I'm talking about this, I'm not asking you to lie. Okay. I'm not asking you to start showing up on social media with a fake background and pretending you're on some fabulous vacation and that you've suddenly become a millionaire overnight. I'm not asking for that, right? I still want you to be you. I don't want you to take your fives list and throw it out the window and come up with five new things that you think would be exciting. I want you to stay with your fives. I want you to be you, but I want you to understand that to get to where you want to go, you're going to have to step into a role. So while you're still you, you have a role to fulfill. So let me give you some examples. And these are really easy and you're going to know them right away. How many of you have a customer service voice? We all have it, right? You have to call somebody about something, you have to call a doctor, or you have to, like in our case, an actual customer. And suddenly you have this very calm voice where you're able to explain things and you're even able to be attacked probably by a human who's being rude to you, but it's okay because you can make it through. When in reality, you want to be like, hey, bitch, shut up, right? But you would never do that. Instead, you would use your customer service voice and work through the issue, right? Am I being unauthentic? No, it's still me. I'm still having to come up with the words, but I am stepping into the role of a customer service, right? So we all have a customer service voice. And I know you'll all get this one, especially Sandra D. How about your teacher voice? How many times have you had to whip out your teacher voice because the group wasn't paying attention and it is time to look up, right? Again, I'm not being who I am. It's still me, but I'm having to whip out that teacher voice, right? Maybe I'm trying to corral cats, which is what it feels like half the time. Um, and I'm going to give you two real life examples that I actually live in. Like I've seen them happen, and the reason I want you to try to think of people in your life that you know that you have seen remain who they are but step into a role is because I want you to truly understand that when the people stepped into the role, you didn't feel any differently about them. Because I think what happens to us when we step into our role as a successful entrepreneur, as a successful business person, as a successful, strong, independent leader, we often worry that people are going to think something about us, bad about us, or that we're greedy, we're pushy, we're bossy, whatever. But I want to give you two examples of people who I know on a very intimate level. I know them inside and out. I know everything about them, but yet I've watched them step into a role where they are completely different. But I didn't feel different about them. So I'll give you my example. Number one, my nephew Adam. If you guys have ever met my nephew Adam in real life, he is incredibly shy. He is that firstborn baby that we spoiled rotten. He will be polite and he will tell you hi, but he will immediately avert his eyes. He'll say it kind of. He's a quiet. He's just a quiet character, right? Like he physically looks large, but he just really wants to canoodle up with you and watch a movie, right? Like that's who he really is at heart. But if you've ever seen my nephew Adam on the football field, I don't even know who that kid is. He is headbutting. I'm sure he's cussing like a sailor. He is jumping up and down. He's, grr, like doing all the things. Like he is in that role. He knows when he steps on that field, he can't go out there and be Adam. He can't go out there and be shy. He can't avert his eyes. He will get killed. He will get run over, right? But when I see him change to step into that role, I don't feel differently about him. I'm proud of him. I'm like, look, he's doing what it takes to get to where he needs to go, right? And you're also excited as a human because you get to see another side of someone, right? That was Daniel to a T when yes. And so you loved Daniel, like you loved Daniel at home and you loved Daniel on the field. You did not feel different about those two Daniels, right? So I want you to keep that in mind as I'm going through this. Another example that I just lived on Thursday, my cousin who I grew up with, he was 3 when I was born. Our granny watched, there was like 5 of us that our granny watched all the time. So we got to grow up, depends on his mood. We got to grow up at granny's house, playing games, eating good food because granny was the best. We played Star Wars and I don't know, you name it, we played games. He's a goofball, just a total crack up, right? Like I just have the funniest memories of me and my cousin. You guys, he's running for sheriff. He's been a law enforcement officer for 30 years. He has served in the Army. He was actually one of the final crews over Desert Storm. And when you say final crew, it was final because of a reason. If you get my drift, he was a part of that. So I know that he is this person out there, this upstanding citizen, law-abiding fighter for the good. Like I know that, but he's still my Barry, right? He's still my cousin that we played. We would rip the wrappers off SpaghettiOs and put him back in the cabinet to confuse my mom when we were little because we thought that was funny, right? Like I know him on a very personal, intimate level. But the other night we were at one of his fundraisers, like the kickoff for his kickoff for the election, whatever you call it. And he had to speak and he stood up and he spoke so powerfully and so, I don't know, it was so amazing to see him step into that role. And I didn't think, oh, he's fake. Like that's not campaign. Thank you, Sonia. Thank you so much for the word. When I saw him step into that role, I was proud of him. Again, like how I was proud of Adam on the field for doing what it takes to get to where you need to be. And so when I saw him step into that role and speak powerfully and speak from his heart and say these things that had nothing to do with playing Star Wars in the backyard, right? I saw that in him and I respected it and I loved him for it. And then when he was done speaking and he came back over, he made a fart joke and it was just like back to being my cousin Barry. So the reason I want you guys to understand this duality is that I know we talk a lot about being authentic, being yourself, not pretending to be someone that you're not. And again, I'm not asking you to pretend. What I'm asking you to do is decide what it is that you want and step into that role. And it may require that you are maybe a little uncomfortable, but you know what needs to be done. Actually, I have a really good example and it's kind of gross, but I'm gonna give it to you because I think you're all gonna relate to this. You know how like, let's say you're at the park and your friend's kid starts throwing up, right? Like they've gone on the swing or the whatever too many times and they're barfing. It's gross, right? Vomit stinks. We hate it, right? And it's their kid. So you're like, hey, I'll get you a towel and you throw it to them and they handle it, right? Because authentically you are disgusted by vomit. However, when it's your kid at the park, you are authentically disgusted by vomit. It stinks. It's disgusting. But you step into the role of the caretaker and you get the job done. And you're not faking it. You're not like, oh my God, I love vomit. It's the best smell in the world. Let me clean that up, right? Like I know this is such an awful long example, but you didn't change who you were or what you felt. You just stepped into the role to get the job done. And I'm telling you right now, if you are saying, I am stuck as brand promoter, I am stuck at 4K, I am stuck, it's because you are not stepping into the role to get whatever you need to do done. And I'm looking myself in the eye as much as I'm looking you in the eye. We are authentically being ourselves. So we're making reels, we're making posts, we're connecting with team members. but we're not stepping that next step, right? We say we want to get to the next place or the next rank, but we're not stepping up to that level. We're not doing what needs to be done. We're not standing up in front of a group of people who know us like the back of their hand, who could tell all of our dirty little secrets, and standing up and having a powerful speech because we're afraid of what people will think of us. We're afraid that if we get on a Facebook Live and we start talking about our business opportunity and how it's changed our life, that somebody that knows us intimately and really, really well is going to like make fun of us or think we're lying, or be like, well, if she's really like making, if this business opportunity was so great, then why does she still live in that house? Right? Like you're so worried about what someone else is going to say, you're not willing to step up and get uncomfortable. And we're going to talk about, now that I've spent 12 minutes about this, we're going to talk about how you do that, how you step into that role. And let me make sure. Oh, one more. Okay. So how do you step into that role? Right now, if I said to you, hey, tomorrow night at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, could you hop on and do a team Zoom and train about reports in the cloud? Like let's pretend I just asked everyone on here, could you please train the team tomorrow at 4 o'clock? I just want you to go over like the different reports that are in the cloud. You would say yes. And tomorrow at 4, you would hop on a Zoom. You would look like whatever you look like. You would be dressed however you would be dressed. And you would go through the reports in the cloud to teach people how to do it, right? Is it right? You with me? What if Jason Camper called you and said, hey, tomorrow night at 4, can you hop on and do a training on a Zoom and go over the reports in the cloud? How would you show up? Versus when I asked you, right? How would you show up? You would show up differently, and do not even act like you would not. You would prep. You would, like, if I asked you to go over the report, you'd be like, oh yeah, I can do that because I know the reports like the back of my hand. No problem. And you would show up to the Zoom dressed in whatever you had on, and you would get through the Zoom. You might even be chewing bubble gum or whatever, right? Like you wouldn't think about it. If Jason Camper asked you to do it, you would practice. You would go over all anxious as fuck with his request, comfortable with yours. Exactly. Exactly. Because to train for him is to step into a new role, right? And so to step into that role, you're going to do some things that you wouldn't do to just remain who you are, right? I'm asking you to just do something, but I'm not asking you to be anyone or do anything different than what you're used to. He's asking you to step up and train. So you would research, you would practice, you would most likely clean your office and or whatever space you were going to do the Zoom from. You would probably show up with your DFT showing with a nice shirt on, your hair would be done. You would probably have on makeup, right? You would sit up tall. You might have even prepared some things so you can share your screen. It would be a whole other thing, right? You would be scared, but you would do it because you would get what you needed done. I would prep, but I would still have a messy bun. That's okay. Exactly. But you would prep, and your voice, you would totally have a different training voice. I can guarantee all of us would have a different voice if we knew we were training and Jason Camper was watching. I would not drop the F-bomb or say that, you know what I mean? I don't think, I would hope not, but you know what I mean? Like it would be different. It would be different because we would be stepping into that role. So what I want you guys to do is think about that person that shows up to train for Jason Camper. Who is she? Who is that girl? Who is that boy? Who is that person that shows up for Jason Camper? If I asked you to speak at a local at the YMCA on a Tuesday night at 6:30 and there's 3 people in the audience, versus if Jason Camper asked you to speak on stage at Thrive Palooza, who is that girl? Right? What is she wearing? What did she do to prepare for this? How does she hold herself? Right? Does she get up and say, well, I started thriving a few years ago, or is she up there like dressed? And she's like, girl, I've been thriving for 5 years. Like, right? There's a different person in you that will come out if it's pushed and put on display. The key here is to get her out on your own time, like intentionally, strategically. It depends because I would be pooping myself. We get you flowy skirts on you so nobody could see that you had your Depends on. All right. So what I'm asking you to do, what I want us to do in the next 14 minutes while we still have time together, is I want you to start thinking about who this person is and how they show up. And I want to encourage you to even give them a nickname, right? So, and I've been trying to think for 2 solid days. I somehow name it's like your superwoman version of you, your alter ego, right? Like, what would you name this person? Like, I can probably come up with names for lots of you, but to come up with one for myself is challenging. But the reason it's important to do that is because, so let's I'm gonna pick on Sandra because it'd be easy. Like, let's pretend that Sassy Sandra is her alter ego. Sassy Sandra don't put up with shit. All right. Sassy Sandra doesn't take your excuses. Sassy Sandra doesn't care what you think about her or what you say about her. She is on a mission to change people's lives. And in the process, she's going to change her own. That is Sassy Sandra. So if you're on Sassy Sandra's team and you're like, I can't make it to the training tonight because my mom's sister's friend's dog is going to be coming over, she'd be like, well, that's a shame because you really should be on that to make your business successful. Whereas regular Sandra might say, oh, that's okay. I understand. It'll be recorded. You can catch it later. That's still Sandra D, right? That's still our Sandra that we know and love. But Sassy Sandra steps into that role. Ooh, tenacious. I got to learn how to say it properly. Tenacious Tammy. I got tongue tied. I like that. Thank you. If you guys come up with nicknames for each other, throw them in the chat because that'd be fun. But do you see where the difference comes from? What the authentic, loving, kind, sweet, wonderful Sandra that we all know and love would immediately be like, oh, you've got a headache. I understand. That's okay, honey. You can catch it on the replay. Sassy Sandra would say, well, it's not for 30 minutes. Pop 2 Advil and get your ass on the thing. Let's go. You building a business or not? Right? There's a difference there. Now, who do you think is going to get to where they want to go faster? Sassy Sandra. Sassy Sandra is going to get there because here's the thing. Regular Sandra might have 5 people making excuses, holding her back, pulling her down, crying about their days, and she authentically feels for them and she wants to care for them. And if you guys know Sandra, this is legit. Sandra will give you her left arm while stirring a pot of chili for you because you're hungry, right? Sassy Sandra still loves you, but she's like, you know what? I do love you and I do feel bad for you that you're not feeling well all the time and that you're struggling to make time for your business because you're so busy. And so my solution to that is for you to really dive in and build this business so that you can start feeling better because you're taking your products all the time and you have plenty of time to show up for trainings because this is going to be your full-time job. She still loves them. She still cares for them, but she's sassy about it, right? Do you see how there's an alter ego for all of us? Sassy Sandra most likely would walk into Thrive Palooza with her shoulders back, her boots on. I'm gonna guess some fringe somewhere, just tastefully in her little outfit, and she would march right up on stage and she would talk about how she built that business. Right? She would do that. And so you gotta find your alter ego. Right? Tenacious. I had to look at it to make sure I said it right. Tenacious Tammy is not going to be like, oh, I'm so sorry that you can't come tonight. We were really looking forward to you speaking at the local. Tenacious Tammy be like, are you kidding me? You're on the flyer. We put the flyer out 3 weeks ago. Why are you changing your mind tonight? Are you just scared? If you're just scared, you need to get there. Right? There's a difference there. I still love the person. I still care about the event. I still care about them. I still want them to share, but I'm not going to like take excuses. And who do you think is going to get to where they want to go? Right? You got to have an alter ego. Do you guys ever, because I know I do you ever go to make a reel and just, can't do it? Like, oh my God, I can't do it. I can't do it today. I can't look at this camera and smile. I just can't. But then some days you're really like on a roll, like Tenacious Tammy comes out and she is doing her thing, right? When you're feeling your alter ego, when you've taken the time to do the things that your alter ego would do, maybe your alter ego is, and it really needs to be the alter of you. So if you are quiet and shy, your alter ego is what? Outgoing and loud. So when you take the time to step into your alter ego, maybe you're, Lisa, I'm going to pick on you. So look how cute Lisa looks with her little shirt on, right? She's been to the dermatologist today. I don't know if you have to work today or not, but she's been shopping. Like Lisa is a cute little dresser, right? Well, Lisa's alter ego is an edgy dresser. Let's say she shows up with like black jeans with red heels and a button up down to yay with a big chunky necklace, right? Like she's an alter, that's her alter ego. So that girl who shows up to do a reel versus the girl that, like, you guys know me, I'm in a sweatshirt or a t-shirt 24 freaking 7. So when I can't get my mind, when I can't wrap my mind around making a reel, I will literally go in and change my shirt, or I will put curls in my hair, or I'll do something to make myself feel different so I can be like, okay, I can do this. And again, it's just stepping out of my authenticity for a hot second to step into the role of the person I need to be to get to where I want to go. The beauty of this too is, you guys ever hear people be like, well, I used to do network marketing, but I was on the phone all the time. I just, every time I turned around, I was having to do this and do that. Okay, well, A, that's a scheduling issue. B, think about if you were like, okay, Monday through Friday from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m., my alter ego comes out. I come home from work, I take off whatever shirt or uniform or whatever it is I wear to work, and I throw on my alter ego uniform. Maybe your alter ego uniform is a black turtleneck. It's like, I'm done, I'm making stuff like a sleeveless black turtleneck, and you've got big hoop earrings, and you throw on some lip gloss, and that is how you dress for every Zoom, for every training, for every reel, for every post, for everything you do. And so you're only answering, and you guys, you're dressed that way when you're talking to your customers, when you're doing your three-way chats, when you're doing your posts, when you're sending out any kind of message, because that person is going to send a different message. If I am dressed up and feeling myself, right, and feeling good about the way I look, and feeling not like the normal me, not the, oh my gosh, I've been in the garden and I'm sweating nasty all day, or I've been out cleaning garbage bins all day, or like it used to be, I would come home and be like, I'm gross, I've been with sweaty people all afternoon. When you take the time to look different and present yourself differently, even if no one sees you, maybe you're not making a reel or you're not on a Zoom, maybe you're just getting on the phone and you're going to work for 2 hours, but you look different and you feel different. Your message is going to be different. If Tenacious Tammy comes home, changes her outfit, does whatever she needs to do, and then sits down to do the messages for 2 hours, that's going to be more productive than regular old Tammy doing messages all day long, checking on it in between planting something, taking the dogs for a walk, covered in, like, you know what I mean? Like you're just replying. So to me, it's not only a way to get yourself to step into the role of who you want to be and become so that you can get to where you want to go with your business, but it's also a way of controlling your time. Let's say you commit to do 2 hours in your alter ego every day, 5 days a week. That is 10 solid hours of highly productive network marketing business time. Think what you could accomplish, right? If Sassy Sandra spends 10 hours a week not putting up with excuses, not worrying about the word no, not caring if someone thinks that her reel wasn't great, not caring if someone rolls their eyes at a post about free credits, not caring if someone's like, I can't believe she just asked me if I would be interested in joining her business, right? Sassy Sandra doesn't care. She's on a mission, right? If she spent 10 hours a week doing that, think what she could produce versus haphazardly in between all the things that are going on in life, grabbing her phone and trying to do stuff. So think about this, especially for those of you that I know work a full-time job. I know it's hard. I was there, and it's hard. It's hard to carve out the time. It's hard to do all those things, but I don't know how the quote goes, but all the good shit in life basically is hard, right? It's hard to travel cross country, but when you get there and you're looking at the ocean, it was worth it, right? So you decide, what do you need to do? And think about it too, like a lot of times we talk about imposter syndrome. Well, what is it that makes you feel inferior? Like, why do you feel like you're faking this business? Are you not taking your products every day? Maybe in your mind, you think a true Lavelle millionaire would take one of everything in the catalog every day. Well, A, they don't. But B, start accumulating your credits and start acquiring some of the plus line items that you think you need to take to be a fabulous promoter, and start taking them. Right? Do you think that, oh, well, like a Lavelle millionaire wouldn't, I don't know. What do we think Lavelle, like, what do we think Maria does? What do we think Maria does that we don't do? Like, come on, you guys all have thoughts in your head. Oh, Maria would never do this. Maria would handle it differently, right? Like, we all have a thought in our head. Well, then do it. If you truly think that, if you think you're not successful because you're doing something that Maria would never do, well, then stop doing it. And if you're like, Maria would do it this way, then do it. Try it. Step into the role that you think is required to do what you need to do to get to where you want to get. Right? If you make a reel and you're like, oh, it's not very good, then don't post it. Go get in your alter ego. Spend 2 minutes, close your eyes, be like, all right, I am Tenacious Tammy. She doesn't put up with crap. She is bold. She has lives to change. Like, whatever it is you need to tell yourself, right? And then step into it and redo it. And I can promise you it's going to be better. So sometimes it might just be a pep talk before you sit down to do your power planning. Sometimes it might be a full-blown look yourself in the mirror and be like, get it together. But every single day, decide when you're going to pull out your alter ego. And you guys, the beauty is you don't have to be her all day, every day. She's exhausting. Sassy Sandra is going to be exhausted. But if she's only out 2 hours a day, then the regular Sandra can spend the next 22 hours of her life doing whatever the hell she wants to do. Because Sassy Sandra can get a lot done. Right? So I want you to think about this. We're almost out of time. It's almost time for Lunch and Grow. But just remember, if you got in, and a lot of you do know me in a private way, I'm pretty quiet. Like if you take me to a large gathering, I'm not up mingling. I will find a chair. I will sit down. I will sit back. I will watch. I do not like to be the center of attention. I do not like to do all that stuff. But when the time comes, case in point, every Monday at noon, I made a commitment to be the leader who has a Zoom to talk to her team to teach. I will get up. I will do this. It's not always easy for me to talk about the stuff I talk about. You guys, any of you that watched my Zoom last month where I basically said, I'm in the dumps here, like help me out. That wasn't easy to do, but I made a commitment to do it. So make the commitment to yourself that you're going to show up and be the person that you know you need to be to get to where you want to get. But rest in the fact that that person doesn't have to live out there 24/7. You just have to step into it. So please remember, like if on the night you're going to go speak at a local where you've taken the time to put on a nice outfit and you've done your hair, maybe some makeup, maybe you've just shared your story and you're feeling on fire. You know, like when you share your story, you're like, oh, I feel so good. Like when I get off the Wi-Fi Wealth on Wednesday night, thank God for Rest Gel, because I'm usually so excited from the stories that have been told that I have trouble coming down. That's the moment that I really should be picking up my phone. Instead of going in and taking my Rest Gel and hoping I can fall asleep, I should take that jazzed up excitement that I'm feeling and I should pick up my phone and I should do a couple of reels. I should maybe do a Facebook Live. Like that's when I should go with that, right? Because then I can go to sleep and I could maybe have 5 reels made that will last me the next few days. So Tenacious Tammy can take some time off. And I would encourage you to have your alter ego take the weekends off or take your family vacation off, because it's also so important when you're like, maybe you're making a post about your business and Tenacious Tammy is the one that's out there and she's like, no, this is really how it goes and this is what we do and you're crazy for not being a part of it. The very next post could be Tammy out in the garden being like, oh my God, a squirrel just ate my sunflower, which was me yesterday. You can still be you. But if I don't let Tenacious Tammy lead the way, then I'm going to be stuck for a really long time. So you have it in you. You have someone in you. You call her whatever the hell you want. It can rhyme with your name. It can be your nickname. It can be your middle name. It could be whatever you want to call yourself. She's in you. Picture her. Take on a sheet of paper. What does she look like? What does she wear? How does she walk? How does she talk? What are her priorities? Right? What does she do on a day-to-day? A lot of you think you're not millionaire status, quality, whatever, because you don't do the things that a millionaire does. Well, your alter ego does. Write it down. And then purposely step into that alter ego every single day, except weekends, I think, because I think you should have some time off. And I can't imagine how different your business is going to be when, like I said, minimum 2 hours a day, you let that alter ego take over. Because again, if I spend 2 hours on a Friday in my alter ego doing a reel, making posts, and I have all that stuff saved, my alter ego to take the weekend off, but she's already saved some stuff. So I'm gonna be posting it on the weekends, right? If you work 10 hours a week as Tenacious Tammy, I can get a lot done, right? And so can you. So anyway, I hope this was helpful. I went a little over time. Hop over to Lunch and Grow. Love you all. See you later. Bye.